Nishmas, some Aikido warm ups to do in your living room. Okay. So if you saw the last video where we were doing the weight shift exercise, I like to start warm ups like that to help get in your body, wake up your mind, stop thinking about other things and get more engaged about where your alignment is in your body first. So just to reiterate, you're kind of lifting and spreading your toes here, getting lots of action, bending your knees, breathing up from the bottom of your feet, up through your hips, hug your belly to your spine, soften in your neck and jaw, release your arms, and then turning one whole side out, so you're taking knee towards toes, allowing your arms to just move because the rest of your body is moving, and then shift your weight forwards and back. Trying to keep ears over shoulders over hips. Now after you take a couple minutes and get acclimated with that body motion, you're going to start to feel a shift to where you're trying to have more weight on your side, right? You're bending your knees, you're taking your center of gravity and expanding it in all directions, and then making it have another exponential circle around it, which is like all the way to your elbows and to your knees. It's like the next layer of density, but it's all the way around you, as far as you can reach. Because your range of motion is exponential in all directions, right? So when you're moving from hanmi to hanmi, I want you to think about going from your center and expanding, including into the space behind you. Next, bring 2 fists to the inside of your knees. Lift and spread your toes. Now press the inside edges of your knees against the sides of your pinky side edge of your hand, and then remove your hands. This is going to help you roll the inside of your leg muscles in and the outside of your hips out. Hug your belly to your spine to protect your back one more time, and lift your arms up. Exhale, come all the way down. Now from here, you don't have to have the mat to do this, but if you do, it's helpful. But still, lift and spread your toes again, just to try to grab as much of the floor underneath you as you can. Bend your knees completely and exhale everything out. And then as you start to go towards straight legs, unlock your neck and your arms, hug your belly to your spine, and start to roll up from your low back. Breathing in from the bottom of your feet, bring all that breath up. Roll. Compress everything back down. And you can go through a cycle of however many feel right for you in that one. Once you get all the way down, pressing everything that's touching the ground down, lifting through your lowest belly and starting to get some extra space in your floating ribs here. Even as you're sitting, you're trying to roll your hips forward just a little bit so that you can get relaxed more in your shoulders, keeping heart space in the center of your chest forward and letting your shoulder blades drip down your back. And you can kind of pound it out. This drumming to help wake up your muscles, get some blood moving. So a lot of this drawing in with your breath work is going to be practicing trying to almost like absorb all the information around you, bring everything in, and then let it go through your entire system and expand it all back out even bigger than you can. So whether you do this in front of you, right? Whether you're opening sideways, compressing, or opening up, and then compressing. Or drawing out and around as you lean forward, up. And again, at your own pace, you can do that in as many repetitions as feel right for you. Now, whenever you're doing this wide angle stretch, I like to keep my ankles engaged, toes flexed. And I'm really not trying to ever get into much more than what I actually can. So if my wide angle is only to here for today, fine, I'm not gonna judge that. If it's here because I have done tons and tons of workouts and then I feel really tight today, that's fine, I'm not gonna judge it either. But the going beyond the max of where you can actually be with your stretching can be a little counterproductive, because then you're gonna end up having misalignment somewhere else. So be in a comfortable distance where you can keep your hips rolled forward a little bit more. And now whenever you're moving, you're gonna shift your rib cage forward and try to keep your toes up, try to keep your knees down. So you're pressing everything that's in the ground, that's touching the ground, all the way down, lifting in your lowest belly. And as you scoop take a ton up in front of you, you're gonna fold forward, open, compress. And instead of automatically turning to the side and folding forward, we're gonna do something a little different. Lifting from the top of your hips to the bottom of your ribs, you're gonna lift and turn, and trying to take the whole front of your torso and turn it towards your extended leg. And when you do that, you're gonna try to let your shoulder blades rotate over your rib cage with a really quick inhale and a really quick exhale. So it's almost like a really fast kokyu kind of motion. But the idea is pressing everything down into the ground and then lifting and turning so that the whole unit is working together. So you can see if you can try to really push the air out by squeezing that exhale with that and tensing up your stomach muscles at the same time. So you're still keeping ears over shoulders over hips as you move. Then big inhale and big exhale, reaching all the way up, out, and over. Walk your hands back to center. Up in the middle, other side. All the way up, big inhale, exhale all the way down. Back to center. This time you are going to cross your arm. One is going to go to the opposite leg. This one reaches all the way up and over. If you can turn a little bit more and look up to the sky underneath the extended arm that's above you, and then switch. This is a really, really big side body stretch, especially if you can keep your feet engaged and pressing down. Back to center. And then you have a couple options here. One, you can put one leg forward in front of you, keep both of your feet flexed the whole time, and you can lift and then turn so that you're taking, whichever leg is bent, you're taking the opposite arm to the outside of the knee right here, and then lift and turn, reach behind you. Look behind you. And then you can go to the other side. One more time, up, out, and over. Other side. And again, you can do any of this as slow as you want to unpack it. You can go back and watch different parts of it over and over if you need to. But these are options and tools for your toolbox. So from here, opposite arm and opposite leg, reach behind you. And the other side. One more time, all the way up and over. Back to center. This time, keeping your feet out in front of you, you can take both hands behind you with your thumbs facing out, fingers pointing away from your back. So it kind of looks like this, right? So from here, you're gonna push your hips forward so that you're rolling your legs forward. And as you bring your ankles a little bit closer to your body, working from home, not gonna make it a big deal. Okay. So from here, lifting and spreading your toes and dragging your feet back just a little bit more. Lift your hips up, take one leg up, cross. From here, you can drop from side to side. This is where you have to be very, very patient because this is a little bit of an extreme stretch, a lot, for these side muscles right here. And other side. Especially if you find yourself sitting a lot, this is going to be very, very helpful for these muscles right here. Other side. If you want to bring it all the way down, you can. I think you'll notice that after you go through a small range of motion with these, you're going to see where your edges are pretty quickly. And from here, slide that heel a little closer to your hips, lift your hip up, kick that leg back out and bring it down. But from here, there's my ukemi drill that has become something that I use it in kids class, I use it in adults class, I use it in beginners classes, and it is an entry point to being able to find this shape with a lot more accessibility. And part of the beauty of that is that we are not only getting almost like creating a way for our brain not to be afraid of rolling forward because we're going to keep our head in not looking at the ground on our way to get there, but the practice of opening in the direction that we don't normally go in for Aikido, which is opening our front body and then compressing and round and getting rounder. Now, the only part of that I'm compressing is the fact that I'm bringing my arms in front of me and bringing my hands closer together. The whole inside of the sphere is very, very open, okay? So you're not trying to contract and to hold your space closed. You're actually trying to take up more space inside of the circle, right? So from here, come up on your toes like you're gonna get ready to walk forward and do Shiko. Active toes. And as you put one leg out without locking it, keep it kind of bent for right now, and your hip is all the way down on top of your ankle for the first one. Now this, if I were to be standing up, I would be in Han Mi. Right now, this is still Han Mi, right? I'm just exaggerating the shape so that whenever I'm down this far, I'm creating a safer entry point to making it over to the other side. So I have knee, shoulder, and ear. They're gonna end up in one line. But first I'm gonna put this hand behind me, behind the leg that is down, and now lifting from the hip and reaching back, this leg starts to go towards a little bit more straight. So you get this huge side body, or front body and side body stretch, front of your hip. And now as you bring the hip back down to your ankle, front hand is gonna swing past your face and towards the extended leg, and bottom arm is going to move and reach as far out as it can the whole way down. You're gonna let your torso lay forward on top of the thigh so that you can get down here to where your shoulder blade is touching the ground and your head is looking towards your extended leg. Now from here, I'm lifting my hip up. So another angle from here. By the time I'm this way, up, I'm bringing the hip back down. This arm swings in front of my face, and this one is going to reach out. This is lengthening the side body here so that I'm not contracting anything or aiming my elbow towards the ground. And swing that all the way down, and then rotate your shoulder. This is all going to touch down on the thigh and bring it up to the inside of the knee. So from here, I am now rotating up. The hip is up, okay? So the idea with this is I'm taking everything from my rib cage, my bottom of my rib cage up, and lifting it up and turning it to the inside of both of my legs so that it's taking up this shape right here. Up, inside, down. Now, if we're rolling a ball, the point of contact for the shoulder, the other side of the ball is going to be where my hip is. So as the shoulder touches, the hip has to rise as well. Okay? So finding balance with this, make sure you do both sides. You're going to open, drop, forward, expand, put the hip back down, go all the way through the shapes again. And by the time you're here, you can get a little bit of an extra stretch if you start pressing your hands away from each other. And this gives you a huge side body stretch and twist. It takes a lot of core work to be able to drop that hip back and put the hand back behind you. So taking your time with this and really trying to find some flow and surrender in the movement. Because if you can lengthen and move the connective tissue because you're shifting where your center is, it's just another lesson in how to move all of your body at the same time based on where your center is. So when you're ready, you can lift your hip up just a little bit more and reach this arm back as far as you can to drop all the way into a front roll. If you have enough room, and again, if you have nice weather and you can do this outside, obviously you would have more space. But if you need to use what you have, and it's limited, you can make this work indoors and not have a really high impact factor, as long as you take the time to make sure that your shoulder blade is on the mat or on the ground instead of your head looking this way, where you're going to have your elbow possibly in front of you or your head in front of you. So you want to try to make sure that all of that stays safe, and you're lengthening even the inside of the circle. So another way to get into that shape is fingers together here, drop them down to the inside of that front knee that's down, shift all of that so that this is already in a circle, shift it towards the extended leg, then put the shoulder down, then open your arms and separate and drop all the way in. So we can explore that and unpack that a little bit more. I can make a separate video for that with just more information and some if you have any questions about it. The other shape would be, more so than doing the back fall where you're kicking your hip up and over your shoulder, I tend to use this one just a little bit more. But for limited space and focus on surrender, flow, breath work, you can use this to start to find a way to reset what you're actually trying to do with it. So right now I'm letting my weight from this inner circle of the sphere, right, like the most dense part of it, is going to be all right here. The next expanding circle is going to be like shoulders and knees. So as I shift to the side, I'm going to let my torso drop down on top of the whole thigh. And still letting my head tuck forward, protecting my neck. Just starting to shift my weight back and forth. And then as an entry point to get into this shape, if you've never done it before, you can take this knife blade edge of your hand, take a katana, right next to your hip, and as this drops down, as your torso drops, or as your thigh drops down, you're gonna slide this down the same line, and then keep expanding this arm. Notice my shoulder's not on the ground yet. And as I move, if I'm thinking about rolling the ball, when my shoulder moves off the ground, I want my hips to start to lift up. So if I'm stretching and reaching out as far as I can here, by the time I drop onto the ground, I'm not using my shoulders to help me do anything except for kind of shape the direction that I'm moving. So again, if this is shifting forward, I'm going to let this shift out and expand before everything rotates. Tucking your head, always, always breathing out whenever your back touches the ground. You can do this like you're floating through water, like you're diving into water, right? More to come soon. Be well.